What's going on, peeps? And today we're going to be looking over the select few people that were able to find success after participating in the famous reality TV show The Voice. The international singing competition was a big part of the pop culture in the 2010s, with the winner of the show receiving a recording contract with UMG and a cash prize. Despite the popularity of the show, most of the winners haven't found a lot of success after the final episode. Sure, they might have had a top 10 album a year later, but the hype dies quickly. This way of creating new pop icons hasn't been successful since American Idol. It seems like the people who were rejected and kicked off the show found more success than the actual winners. So today, we will be going over those lucky artists who were able to find some sort of successful career after their time on The Voice. As a reminder, we are going to be talking about people who were complete no-names before the show, so people as listed will not be on this list. So let's get started.
Last night we let the liquor talk. I can't remember.
The biggest country artist at the moment was on the show at one point. I've discussed his full-length journey on my Appeal of Morgan Wallen video, but in 2014 he auditioned with the track Collide by Howie Day. He impressed the judges Usher and Shakira with his performance, which led to him joining Usher's team. He beat out Brothers Walker in his first battle round before getting stolen by Adam Levine in the second round following his loss to Stevie Joe. He was eventually eliminated during the playoffs, with his final performance being a cover of Stay inspired by Florida Georgia Line. Thanks to the show's popularity at the time, Wallen maintained enough exposure to make a few big moves in the industry. In 2016, Wallen's manager Dirk Hemsey would send out a demo to Big Loud Records' Seth England. He'd audition and end up getting himself signed. Wallen's buddy Hardy wrote the song Up Down, sending it over to him to record a solo version. However, Wallen got in contact with label mates Florida Georgia Line. They agreed to feature on the song released in 2017. This co-sign gave Wallen his first country radio #1. It's kind of inspiring how he was eliminated from The Voice, performing a song made popular by Florida Georgia Line, to collaborating with them and going #1. Wallen would obviously get bigger from here, continuing his success with smash records If I Know Me, Dangerous the double album, and One Thing at a Time. Dangerous was the best-selling album of 2021, going on to sell 7 million units, and the latter record has spent 14 weeks at #1. He also earned the first country #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in decades with Last Night, plus the additional songs that rule country radio like Whiskey Glasses, Chasing You, You Proof, and Wasted on You. He's easily the most successful musical act to come off the program, and he didn't even come close to winning. Ah yes, the woman who blew up my channel. I've talked about her story in my most popular video, The Appeal of Melanie Martinez, but here it is again. She first gained fame as a contestant during its 3rd season in 2012. Her mother's car broke down before they arrived, forcing the two to hitchhike a taxi to get to the untelevised audition. She learned that she had made it to the second round and was eventually chosen to appear in the show's auditions. She sang Toxic by Britney Spears to kick it off. Adam Levine, CeeLo Green, and Blake Shelton pressed the I Want You button on her behalf. She went with Adam. Martinez would face Caitlin Michelle in the battle round and sang Lights by Ellie Goulding as a duet. Martinez prevailed, advancing to the knockout stage. Sam James and Martinez were placed together for another knockout round, performing Bulletproof by LaRox. She'd advanced to the live rounds after Levine eliminated James. She lasted up until week 5 when she was eliminated by audience vote. She was grateful for having such an opportunity to touch the audience's heart. Although she was eliminated in the later rounds, her unique style and distinctive voice developed a fan base. A fan-funded music video for Dollhouse was put out in 2014, garnering millions overnight. She later signed to Atlantic Records and put out her debut album Crybaby in 2015. The record was a massive success, with every song being streamed hundreds of millions of times, as well as putting out several music videos with elements of fantasy, childhood imagery, and dark themes. She was able to make herself stand out in the pop landscape and earned a massive following because of it. Her follow-up records K-12 and Portals were also successful, assuring her that even though she lost one opportunity with The Voice, it didn't affect her career in the slightest. Easily top 3 most successful contestant.
So I remember when we were driving in your car.
Another huge country act, Luke Combs, was attempting to make a name for himself on the show. While on spring break in Atlanta, Georgia, The Voice was scheduling auditions. The aspiring artist gave it a shot. During the producers' auditions, he told them he was going to sing a country song. The producers questioned him, "You didn't sing country before?" He responds, "So I have to sing one kind of music? The show is about being a singer." He did make it through all the producer rounds, but months later he received a letter pretty much telling Combs he was too boring for television. They let him down easy though, calling him a great singer. Combs assumed it was just about the ratings, which is strange because country has like a huge audience. Why would they just reject him like that? He would hang that rejection letter up in his dorm room to push himself forward and fight. They must feel pretty stupid now, as Combs is now selling out stadium shows and has earned himself a diamond single with Beautiful Crazy, and his cover of Fast Car is on his way to #1 on Billboard. He ended up performing on The Voice anyway during the 2019 live finale. Country legend and longtime judge for the show, Blake Shelton, called it embarrassing on the producer's part and suggested that Luke should put that letter right next to his now 5-time platinum record. "This one's for you. A reminder to keep fighting."
You come around unannounced and you leave with the sunlight.
In 2019, a representative for The Voice invited Jannakos to a private audition in Atlanta after viewing one of his performances online. Jannakos made his television debut on episode 6 during the show's blind auditions. This was his first ever performance in front of a live audience, and it was to millions of people. He impressed Kelly Clarkson and Adam Levine with his performance of Beautiful Crazy, a Luke Combs song, of course! He would join Team Levine before going through the battle rounds. He won his first one against Patrick McUllen before being eliminated in a live cross battle against Dexter Roberts. He recalled the experience as terrifying, but thinks about how far he has come as a singer. Encouragement from his coaches led him to continue even more into a musical path. He began writing and recording material for his debut project. One song he shared on TikTok during July of 2020 went viral overnight. Gone Too Soon was the track, and it had racked up 200,000 likes and earned him 100,000 followers the next day. In September, Jannakos put out the single and started receiving record deal offers up the wazoo. He signed the recording contract with Sony Music Nashville's RCA Nashville label on November 10th. This would allow the song to make its way to the radio. It'd go on to debut at number 65 on the Hot 100 with 28,000 downloads. It has since been certified gold in the States. With the right deal, we might see more of this kid. This next person had a way different outcome than the rest of the list. During 2012, Taub was taking a year off from Princeton University and wanted to try out a singing career through The Voice, and to meet CeeLo Green, who he was a big fan of. He was late, but told the check-in person that he had midterms and made his way to the auditions. He passed through all the producer rounds and made his way to the main stage. He impressed CeeLo Green with his cover of Feeling Good. He didn't last long though, as he lost his first battle round against Meisel Lastman. Instead of pursuing a music career, he continued his original college major of philosophy. He used the money he earned from The Voice to book a trip to the Turkish-Syria border 6 months later to become a war correspondent. He studied the war crimes of Syria with his 149-page senior thesis that landed him a job as a writer for The New Yorker. He talked about almost being kidnapped by a British doctor who worked for ISIS. By 2017, his dedication and talent was rewarded by the Livingston Award for International Reporting, the Robert F. Kennedy Journalism Award for International Print Reporting, and the Overseas Press Club Award for Investigative Reporting. He was named as one of the Forbes 30 Under 30 in media. 2018 saw him win the Prince Albert II of Monaco and United Nations Correspondents Association Global Prize for his coverage of climate change, as well as the George Polk Award for magazine reporting for his work on the convergence of crises in Sahel, and the George Polk Award for magazine reporting for his coverage of Iraq's post-ISIS campaign of vengeance. He became the 8th person to win the Polk Award back-to-back and the first to do so in 20 years. He'd received the Pulitzer Prize for feature writing in 2020 for his story from 2019 titled Guantanamo's Darkest Secret. He might not have been the best singer, but he was easily the smartest. In 2012, Cassadee Pope entered the third season of The Voice during the summer out of desperation following her band Hey Monday splitting. She was new to Los Angeles and was struggling to make a living. This was up until she was introduced to talent scouts for the production, who knew she had something special. After hearing her blind audition of Torn, all 4 coaches offered her a spot on their teams. Blake Shelton was the coach she ultimately chose. She performed a powerful rendition of Over You, which was co-written by Shelton, during the third live round. The cover dethroned Gangnam Style from the top spot on iTunes. This was the moment that turned her into a serious contender. She'd win both of her battle rounds, advancing to the live playoffs. The Voice audience was clearly on her side, as week after week she'd be saved by public vote. She'd be the only female competitor to make it to the top 4. Eventually, she made it to the finals and took home the victory in December, the first female winner in history. The major win directed her towards Republic Nashville, who signed her in 2013. Her debut single, Wasting All These Tears, was put out in May, debuting at number 37. It went on to be certified platinum. Her debut record cracked the top 10, selling 43,000 in its first week. She toured with Dierks Bentley and Tim McGraw throughout 2014. Now, the other singles from the record didn't perform nearly as well, so why is she here? Because 2 years later, in 2016, she got another hit with Chris Young called Think of You. The duet was a major success on country radio, making it her first #1 and being certified platinum. Since then, she hasn't had a lot of success and actually switched from country to her roots in pop punk, but she still managed to get a hit years after her time on The Voice. She had it better than most.
'Cause when you smile, I see the sun sink down on the coast.
Now, before he cheated on his wife and possibly assaulted his former manager, the dude was trying to make it on The Voice to kick off his singing career. He tried out The Voice twice before he was famous in 2011. The show rejected him those 2 times. He said his bass player made it further than he did. He had a much better time on American Idol, where he made connections with season winner Scotty McQuarrie. In 2016, he agreed to a publishing contract with songwriting imprint Wide Open Music. He was later signed to Broken Bow Records' Stony Creek imprint after performing a talent presentation for the label in early 2017. The executive vice president claimed that signing him was one of the label's quicker decisions ever. He'd go on to put out hits like Best Shot, Make Me Want To, Freedom Was a Highway, and Down Home. He also got the chance to be on The Voice after becoming a country star, serving as Blake Shelton's celebrity advisor for the battle rounds. He's starting to hit his stride as a major hitmaker in country music. He can relate to those people who are still on the edge of having their moment. That moment might be out of the picture at the moment, as he was recently dropped from his label for you know what. At least he found success after being rejected from The Voice. Thank you for checking out this video. It was interesting diving into the backstory of these artists who were part of a show that doesn't really make you a famous pop star in the long run, but ended up doing so. I still have several other artists in mind who have done it as well, but I didn't want this to be too long. If y'all want a part 2, let me know in the comments below. Also, who had the most shocking story? I'll see y'all next time. Peace.